Thousands of illegal immigrants caught recently.
He toured the Border Patrol facility, turned into a shelter now in the Rio Grande Valley.
This is not a Democrat or Republican problem. Our congressmen and our senators need to be working in concert to make sure that the dollars are going to be in place to secure this border.
Politicians also toured a military base in San Antonio where 1,200 undocumented children are being held. Senator Ted Cruz, Texas Attorney General and candidate for Governor Greg Abbott, criticizing the president's response to a humanitarian crisis. Also on that tour, Congressman Michael Burgess of Louisville. He joins us live from Washington, D.C. Congressman, would you agree this is not a Republican or a Democratic issue? Because it sure seems like the Republicans are on the attack against the White House.
Well, look, you've basically got two problems. One, the children who are here that are in processing center yesterday at Lackland Air Force Base, but the bigger question is, what do you do to turn the flow off? And that likely is something that has been precipitated by the presidential policies and as a consequence can be reversed by presidential policies. And boy, that needed to start yesterday as far as I'm concerned.
How did this begin? It seems like all of a sudden we looked up and we've got tens of thousands of many of them children, undocumented illegals coming in from places like Honduras and Nicaragua. How did this suddenly happen?
It was absolutely predictable. Exactly 2 years ago, the president took it upon himself to rewrite immigration law in this country, which is clearly a purview of the legislative branch, but he did it with the executive branch and said that he was not going to prosecute anyone who was here illegally. Now, he put some parameters around it and defined it as a certain age group arriving after or before a certain date. But you know what? That gets lost in the translation. And kids down in Guatemala and El Salvador, they weren't looking into the intricacies of a presidential order. They simply heard, hey, if you get here, the borders are open and we're not going to prosecute you, we're not going to send you back. So that's why you're seeing this age group travel north. Now, look, if the president just simply wanted to bring in a lot of people from Central America, there's a better way to do that than tell these folks to pay the coyotes thousands of dollars and then make a very dangerous trek across Mexico. I mean, these kids are exposed to unspeakable danger during that time. But look, the problem was created by the president. The president can reverse this, number one, with public service announcements. Don't send Vice President Biden down to Guatemala to say, we'll give you more money to help you with a problem. Say, we're going to cut off your money unless you fix this problem. You can do this on the airwaves with public service announcements in your country and convince people, educate people that they're not to come. And the reason I know this can happen is because Bill Clinton did it right before his inauguration in 1993. Remember, he had in 1992, he said, yeah, I'll open the doors up to Haitian immigrants. They saw what was fixing to happen with all of the boats being built in Haiti, and the president reversed course and said, I'm going to continue President Bush's policies after I'm inaugurated, and the problem stopped. This is the type of activity it's going to take.
What do we do with a 13-year-old who has been dropped on our doorstep from Nicaragua? Do you pack them up and send them back? Do you prosecute them? It sounds like what we're talking about doing is trying to find relatives in the United States and reuniting them. That sounds like a happy ending.
Well, yes, except that we're going to be overwhelmed with happy endings. Yeah. So Governor Perry is quite correct. Attorney General Greg Abbott, quite correct. You've got to beef up security on the border. The border is being overwhelmed right now. If an 8-year-old can get across and turn himself into the Border Patrol, who else is getting across? Well, that Border Patrol's attention is diverted by the 8-year-old. I mean, this is an enormous problem. So that does need to be fixed. It creates a secondary problem in Mexico, though, with people being held in stash houses who were awaiting their ability to get across the border. But once the child is here, sure, there are policies that are procedures that are followed, and that's what we saw yesterday down at Lackland. You know, are the kids being well taken care of here? Sure, they are. And the folks at FEMA, the folks at Health and Human Services, they are doing the job that they were sent there to do. But the problem is we can't keep doing that job. This has got to change.
The governor has talked about sending state troopers down, spending in excess of $1 million every week to take care of this problem. But state troopers can't do the job of the Border Patrol.
No, the National Guard, I think, is what he was referring to. They can help. be a backstop, but you're correct. They can't do the primary job of the Border Patrol. But right now, the Border Patrol is overwhelmed, so they do need the help. The fact is that money that Governor Perry is talking about for sending the National Guard to the border, in my opinion, that ought to be reprogrammed from foreign aid that was destined for Guatemala, El Salvador, Honduras, and Mexico, because that is where the problem arises.
So cut off the funding to them and just transfer the money over. Yeah, the federal government does that well, stopping spending money.
Well, right, and that is the problem. But if you want to get their attention, if you want to make this important to the leaders of those countries, that's what I would do.
Right. Congressman Burgess, thanks very much.
Thank you.